Hello there, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make a bow stave. Now my first attempt was pretty unsuccessful, but my second one had a lot more success. So in this video I want to share with you how I made my bow. Now the first thing I did was I went ahead and found myself a hickory tree. Now this is very easily classified by its compound leaflets of 7.
Pretty sure this is hickory. Either white ash or hickory, so.
I then went ahead and tried to extract the inner bark of the hickory tree. Now, little did I know that the inner bark of hickory is really bad at making cordage. However, there are other species that have really good inner bark, but definitely not hickory. So, here I have the finished product. Not too bad, but not really bow-like in appearance. So here we have me shooting my first arrow. Now for you archers, don't look at my arrow. Manages to fly a couple of meters. Here's my second shot.
Just gotta feel. Right now it's like under a lot of tension. Like this is. Oh.
And as you could see, the bottom wing broke. So it's time to make another bow.
So now we're going to be finding the profile of the bow. And the profile of the bow is in which direction it basically bends. No stick is completely straight. It's always going to have one direction in which it'll bend just a bit more slightly if it is really straight. So, an easy way to find that is just to put it on the ground and then with one hand just roll it. And then you'll see that at one point the bow is going to be a lot higher and it's going to be making an arc. And when you keep on rolling it, one will make like an under arc that goes more underneath. Now we're going to be using the over arc, so the one that looks more like an arc. We're going to use the top part of the arc as our back of the bow. So now I'm going to probably take some measurements. So I have this handy roller thing and I'm just going to go ahead and take some measurements in terms of length. I'm going to position where I want my handles, things like that. That's exactly 2 meters. Wow. I ran into a little problem. Over here, there started to appear these cracks in my bow. This bow started to crack. Now, I would say it's around 8 inches into my bow. My bow is a total length of 79 inches. Around 78 inches there. So I'm going to have to probably cut it out because I wanted to use this part of the bow, this back part of the bow, but this is the part where the thin crack starts happening. So if I do use this, it's just going to ruin the bow. So I'm going to have to cut this part off and then start from here. So now we're going to start by using a medium-sized knife and just start by taking off some of the stuff. This is going to be the back of the bow, so this area we do not touch at all. Make sure you don't lay a single finger on it. This is just going to give us a general marking of where we're going to be cutting. Now either way, once you do this process, there's no going back. If you do this, you can't use it as the back of the bow anymore because you've already degraded some of the wood. Nice and light like so. I've got the bow like so. This is the handle. I'm not going to touch it yet because I want to make it very specific. Just start taking off some of the wood. Right now this is mainly the bark. Now I'm getting to the wood. And just lightly do this. Now at the ends, you'll want to make it thinner, and here you'll want to make it thicker. So try and avoid taking off too much wood on the bigger parts, especially if you have a small stick. I suggest keeping on most of this wood, focusing on the edges and making your way to the middle. Make sure to do it equally on both sides. That's one of the biggest problems that I've encountered, doing it on one side and then realizing it's not going to work out like that on the other side. So just slowly do it on each side. Now you can see that I'm using my entire body. I'm just moving my hips
That way I'm not wasting a lot of energy and I'm pretty accurate. I'm not moving my arms like this, I'm moving my entire body like so.
That. This one's actually bending like ever so slightly. Just saying, it helps if your knife has a jagged edge like this. This makes it come off in strips like this. If you're doing it with the flat part, it's going to be really inefficient, and it's probably better to use an axe or a saw. And we can see that it's starting to bend, which is good. Ooh, there we go. That's some nice bends right there. So here we have the bow stave in a pretty basic form. As you can see, the handle is going to stay like this. I plan to just keep the handle like this. Just make sure it stays really firm. And I've left the edges of the bow untouched, which now I'll temper down to a more bendable form. So now that I have the main shape of the bow done, I'm going to tiller the bow. The tillering the bow is pretty much when you press the end in to the ground and see how it bends. Now I'm just going to put my knife to the side here. Now, we can see it bending, and now we want a straight curve, but that's not always how it turns out. It might be bent on one side, and then there's one point that gets really thin and really thick, so that it becomes kind of like this point. We want it to be gradual bend. It's pretty good. Let's say just maybe a bit more here. This one is looking pretty bad. This one is bad. I'll definitely fix it up here a bit, too stiff. So you just lightly take off wood and keep on tillering it. You can also do it this way, just point through here. Get it to bend like this. If your arm is wide enough,